Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. So it's that time of week again. It's our usual Saturday Night Live. Let's see who comes in to join us. And like the title says, it's another one of those weekends where I've been stuck indoors so far. The weather's been absolutely horrible. And yeah, we're left gardening inside the house. Let me just get my glasses. Give me a second. Um, just make things a little bit easier for me to see and see what's going on. Sean, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Laura, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. How's everything going with you guys? Are you both well? So let's see who else is coming in. As you're coming in, if you wouldn't mind hitting that like, it'd really be good for us. I'd appreciate that. So yeah, so what's everyone been up to? We've been stuck inside. We've been sat in. It's been a week of non-stop rain and wind and some real minus temperatures and some heavy frosts. But it's not stopped us. We're still gardening inside. We're still doing we're still doing some work inside. So Sean's just had a chicken tikka, very spicy. You need some of my naga achar for that, mate. You need to try some of that. Matthew, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Steve, mate, how are you doing? Thanks very much for coming in. Hope you're all keeping well. Yeah, so now recovered. Thanks. I've been buying seeds ahead of planting. I made a trip out to Wilco's today. So because I couldn't get out into the garden, it was too wet and too windy. It was really cold as well. So we went for a trip out to Wilco's. Our Hoover broke, so it was either go to Curry's to find a new Hoover or to Wilco's for me to go and get some seeds, and a sieve, my small compost sieve, the plastic one that I've been using for the last however many years. The winds must have taken it off on an adventure, because I've been looking everywhere. I can't find it. It's just completely vanished. We've had some severe winds. Quite a few things have just disappeared from the garden, and I'm imagining that sieve has gone it's flown away. So that was last weekend. I couldn't find it at all. Completely disappeared. So I needed a sieve. I needed a sieve to make my potting mixes. So we did a trip to Wilkinson's today, and I spent something like 70 quid on seeds, sieves. I treated myself to a brand new rake. Yeah, we've got a fair few seeds as well. But yeah, if you know me, I don't like spending money, and we spent a fair whack there. Let's see who else is coming in. Now recovered. Laura, what have you been ill with? Because we've been missing you for the last few weeks. So, I hope everything's okay now. I know I've seen your child videos. Do you grow the chilies in them? The first batch I did, Sean, what I did was it was 100% homegrown. So, I mean, I thought they'd go quite slowly. So we made 50 jars of naga, garlic, and chili, and it was 100% homegrown. And within a few hours of me listing them, I put a couple of posts up saying this is what we're doing and we're selling these. They'd all sold out within a few hours. So within a day of selling them, I'd sold more than I had in stock. So I'd sold about 100 jars within 24 hours. So we had to buy some chilies in. But what I've said is, my guarantee is that 10% of every jar will contain homegrown ingredients. So whether it's chilies, whether it's the mustard seeds, regardless of what it is, at least 10% of every jar will contain homegrown ingredients. But the place that we buy the chilies from as well, it's a nice little organic farm down south, and they're producing stuff for us, and they're sending it up for us as well. And because they've got big, massive industrial greenhouses, they're able to grow year round. Gareth Lewis, there's a real world friend. How are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Watching with my daughter, concentrated in another post. Oh, concreted another post. Oh, fantastic work, mate. I need to come up and have a look at that. But yeah, like I was telling you the other day, give it a couple of months and then you can just come and fill your boots. Just come around to ours and just get yourself some plants. I did mean to go to Wilco today, but I ended up in the pub most of the time practicing my darts. So what seeds did you buy? So yeah, loads of peas. So I bought a couple of varieties of peas, some early onwards, and some Kelvin Wonder. They're going to be, so the earlies will get sown tomorrow, and I'll sow them in gutters. And I've done videos on how I sow them in gutters, but they'll get sown tomorrow. And the Kelvin Wonder I'll wait a couple of weeks before I sow them. I did save a load of seeds, pea seeds myself, but I found a handful and I've got them already started, but there's quite a few other. I know I saved a lot more than the ones that I can find. So unless I can find them, then I can't sow them. Laura got COVID. Okay. Yeah, that explains why you've been missing for a couple of weeks. How are you feeling now? Sadia, assalamu alaikum wassalam wa rahmatullah. Do I have any advice on what to do with leggy coriander seedlings? I don't have a greenhouse, sadly, so they've been on my windowsill for a couple of weeks. See, do you know when you're sowing seeds, whatever seeds you're sowing at this time of year, sow using compost that's really low in nutrition. So you want real low in nutrition, and you want low low heat levels. You want enough heat to get them germinated, but you don't want them, once they've germinated, to just shoot off. So you want, and you don't want them to get loads of feed straight away. So use something that's almost like 40-50% sand, or that kind of thing. So something low in nutrition. I mean, we grow coriander on our windowsill all the way through the year, and that's what we do. So in winter months, we slow down the growth, so we slow down the amount of food that the plants are getting, and then that way they're not shooting off for stars. And even when in low light conditions, they're not, they're not going really leggy. But if they're extremely leggy, then I'd start again. But if they're just a little bit leggy, just top them up with a little bit compost and keep them going. But the other thing that we do is we get a little bit of sun, morning sun on our front window. So everything, our plants are on our front window in the morning, and then in the back window from about 11, 12 o'clock onwards, we get loads of sun through the back window. So 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, we'll switch the windows. So we'll pick everything from the front window and move them to the back window, and they'll stay there for the rest of the day. And that way they're getting as much sun as we can give them. And so Icky, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Yoki Malone, thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well, mate. Planted all my ghost peppers, doing cayenne peppers this week and some tomatoes. Ghost peppers sprouted fantastic. Yeah, ghost peppers are, I mean, they look absolutely gorgeous. They look amazing. I've got a lot of ghost peppers this year. We're going big on ghost peppers this year. See, Naga, we always go big on Naga. So I've got 5 varieties of Naga going this year. I've got Dorset Naga, some yellow Naga, some red Naga, some Bangladeshi Naga. So quite about 5 different varieties of Naga, just Naga on their own going. Ghost peppers are going. Trinidad Maruga. We've even got some Carolina Reapers. Yeah, so there's a good amount of plants going. But yeah, if anyone does want to buy some plants, we've got some plants for sale as well. So drop me a message and I'll send you out a price list on some of the chili plants that we're selling. I might grow some asparagus. I bought some at Morrison's today for my tortoise. Didn't know it was that day. Asparagus costs a fortune. But the thing is, once you get an asparagus bed planted and established, that's it. You're set for life, really. I went to visit someone in Birmingham last year, and he was getting asparagus probably a couple of inches thick. They were absolutely monsters, really, really big asparagus spikes. And but his plants were something like 30 years old. an old man had had the allotment for forever, and he'd grown them. And then when he took the allotment over, he got those 30-year-old crowns, and he was just doing absolutely fantastic with them. So yeah, once you get them established, they just keep producing, and the sooner you get asparagus into the ground, the better. I mean, it's one of those things that I meant to plant when I first moved into this house, and I never decided on a permanent spot of where to plant them. So I never decided on, yeah, I want them here or I want them there, and I never sort of got myself committed to, yes, I want them in one, or, do you know, I want a specific bed for asparagus. So I never planted them. So I just wasted something like 10 years. And then last year, Nitin gave me some crowns, and I finally planted them. And it took me that many, you know, all that time to decide on whether I'm going to plant them, because I couldn't find a permanent home for them. Another little tip for you with asparagus is they'll do fantastic with strawberries. If you think about the root profile, strawberries, their roots are quite shallow, probably 6 inches. Maximum they'll go to about 8 inches, and they spread along the top. Whereas asparagus, they'll go down at least 1 meter deep. You know, some of their roots can go really deep down into the soil. So if you plant asparagus with strawberries, and because the way asparagus grows as well, it's like a single stick, it's not going to crowd the strawberries out or anything like that. So the root profile and the above ground, perfect to go well together. So that's another little tip there. Have you seen the little bulb bags in Wilko? They have rhubarb, strawberry, ginger, asparagus, and garlic. They're going to buy the garlic when they're in season. I've seen. Do you mean they've got all that together, or as one combo, or individually? I've seen them individually. Rhubarb, if you haven't got rhubarb, I mean, if you find someone who can give you a crown, even better, you get it for free. Strawberry, loads of people give you runners, but if there's a specific variety that you want, fair enough. Ginger, I wouldn't bother buying the Wilko's ginger. I mean, a tiny little piece costs £2. For £2, you're going to get a nice big chunk from an Asian grocery shop if you can get to one, and just soak it overnight. And just, if there's any sort of growth inhibitors on it, you'll wash it away. Don't worry about it. That's what I grow. I grow grocery shop ginger. Same with garlic as well. I've got lemon balm growing in my windowsill, and that's for the tortoise. I'd like some lemon balm. Where'd you get your lemon balm started from? Anthony, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Took on another allotment, 2 plum trees, 1 apple tree on a plot, put a small polytunnel. Any tips on aubergine growing? Tony, congratulations on your new plot. Fantastic. Very well done. Very happy for you. Aubergines, get them started now. They want plenty of bottom heat, probably about 20 to 25 Celsius. So get them on, if you've got a heated propagator, get them on a heated propagator, on top of your boiler, on top of your radiator, on top of your skybox even, but give them plenty of bottom heat. They need a long growing season, so now's the time to start them. I was filming, so I was recording a podcast for the RHS this week. It should be out next week when they release their next podcast. And we were talking about growing chilies, talking about growing aubergines. So they need lots of bottom heat to get them germinated. But once they're germinated, if you've got grow lights, get them under grow lights. Otherwise, get them as much sun as possible. And like I say, with seed starting compost, especially at this time of year, make sure it's really low in nutrition. Sean, I've seen that joke, mate. It's a quality one. I saw Chris posted that in our group, in our Facebook group. But yeah, that's a quality joke. Komodo dragon doing well. See, the kids would love to hear about your Komodo dragon. They're downstairs at the minute, so when they come up, they might come and ask you about your Komodo dragon. Excuse me. So last year only got 50%, but this year all 50 seed germinated. On your chilies, fantastic. Have you tried our chili, our tea soak method? So from the seeds, and it's from seeds lemon balm. I've it. Oh, Sean, that's fantastic. Quite a few people have struggled with lemon balm. I mean, I've never tried to grow it, but it's been on my list of things that I want to get growing. But yeah, lemon balm is one that I definitely want to get going. I'm not thinking of lemon balm. I'm thinking of lemongrass, not lemon balm. Lemon balm's quite easy to get going. Yeah. Sorry, mate. I'm getting it confused with lemongrass. Lemongrass is the one that I'm thinking of. The girl gardener, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. And Tony from Simplified Gardening, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. And Tony's back to making videos again regularly, and there's something to look forward to. So there's another guy. So whoever's asking about strawberries, Tony's just done a video on growing strawberries and growing everything about growing strawberries. So that was out yesterday, I think. Yeah, I watched that today. And Sean, I got it mixed up with lemongrass. That's the one. Yeah. Yeah, we're all good, thanks. So we had a nice little treat. What else did I buy? Loads of dahlias. So dahlias, one of my favorite flowers actually. So we bought 4 or 5 different varieties of dahlias. The only thing that I don't like about a dahlia is they're so stunning. They're really nice flowers. They give you flowers all the way through the year. The only thing that I don't like about them is they don't have a fragrance. Do you know, if they had a nice fragrance, that'd be the absolute perfect flower, I think. And I've always had a sort of tough time to decide whether it's dahlias or whether it's lilies that I like better. But I mean, lilies, they've put on a great show. They smell beautiful, but they last for a really short amount of time. But yeah, dahlias are absolutely brilliant. So we bought quite a few different types of dahlias today. What we're going to do with them is we'll get them on some heat, spread them in a little bit of compost, get them on some heat, and start snipping off sprouts as they come up. So as they start sprouting, we'll just take those sprouts and pot them on, and then we'll grow them sprouts, and then we'll basically multiply the amount of flowers that we get, or the amount of plants that we get. I love gladioli. Gladioli are all right. They're all right. The only thing that I don't like about them is, no matter how deep you plant the bulb, the flower spike gets too big, and every time it gets to flowering time, we get that strong gust of wind, and they always just flop over, regardless of what you prop them up with. That's the only thing that I don't like about them. Ashley, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Guys, potting spring onions indoors, anyone? Potted some in module trays, undercover too early. Do you mean onion sets? Is that what you're referring to? Or do you mean spring onions as in actual spring onions, salad onions, those type of things? Never been interested in growing flowers, really. I don't mind roses though. See, one of the things that I want to do is I want to make my garden look a little bit prettier. It's the thing that my wife's always nagged me about, and she said she's always like, make it look good as well as being functional. And we've made some improvements. There's some areas that, I mean, the top part of the garden where the pond is, that's just like a recreational area, and that just is full of flowers and full of pretty looking plants. But what I want to do is what I want to do around the rest of the garden is make sure that it looks a bit nicer and just has more color in it. I mean, we grow tons of marigolds, we grow tons of little wildflowers in amongst our veggie beds. So we'll plant cornflowers and stuff like that and get them growing in amongst our flowers, because in amongst our vegetables, because that encourages bees and pollinators and just makes it a nice place to be. But I just want more of that. I want a lot more color. So where have we gone? Ivan, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Thanks very much. I hope you're keeping well. How can I buy chili plants from you? Mine were rubbish last year. Tony, just my email is in my about description, and if not, I'll type it in here. I can't talk and type at the same time. There you go. There's my email address. Drop me an email, and I'll send you over a list of what we've got and how much they are, and we'll get some sent over to you. So now seed spring or spring onion seeds. Okay, yeah, just get the spring onion seeds. Perfect time to start now. They're fine to germinate in the cold greenhouse, windowsill. Just get them potted on. I mean, we don't grow a lot of spring onions. We grow some, but we don't grow loads. We grow a lot of onions though. And you know, main crop onions, spring onions. What we'll do with onions is we'll plant them as bunches. So our main onions, we'll plant them as bunches. So we'll pick some of those younger ones off as spring onions, and then just let the other ones grow up in the same space. So for space, you get a much bigger harvest, but you get a smaller bulb often. But I don't grow for exhibition. I don't grow for competition or show, anything like that. I grow for being able to be practical and being able to use. What do you think about lemon drop chili? I made a chili sauce with Komodo dragon and lemon drop best hot sauce. So yeah, aji lemons. They're a nice hot chili. But they taste a bit. I don't know. I'm undecided on them. They taste a bit weird. They are nice. They're nice, but they're a bit of a weird nice. So I'm a little bit undecided on them. Let me just lower that camera a little bit so I'm a bit more in the screen. So Ab, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Well, I'm going to call you Ab anyway instead of reading your whole number out. Thanks for the compliment. Appreciate that. We'll stay for the whole live. I've picked my daughter up in about 15 minutes. Where are you picking her up from, Tony? Can you message me about the plants you're selling when you can? Yeah, I'll send you something over. KSQ Gardening, how are you doing? Assalamu alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Mark, which variety of onions do you grow? So this year, I always grow Ailsa Craig, and I also always grow Stuttgarter. They're staples. And then this year, what I'm growing is Sensu, obviously. So those three are staples. And then this year, I'm growing one called Globo. There's a sweet Spanish onion that I'm growing. What else am I growing? We've got some saved seeds from seeds that we just saved ourselves from some onions that bolted last year. There's a couple of other varieties, but there's Red Baron. That's another nice one that I like. It's a red onion, as the name suggests. There's a white one that I'm growing. What's the white one called? I can't remember what the white one's called. It's a white skinned onion. I'll put a post up when I go and have a look. What's your view on Charles Dowding? The guy's doing some good work. He's not doing. We're doing a bit of. I mean, the type of gardening that we do is completely different to that. I mean, we're not on the kind of budget that he's on. I mean, for him, his gardening is a full-time profession. For us, it's about making do with what we can. So trying to spend as little as possible in the garden. I mean, we're not on a massive budget, so we work on small amounts of money, and we work with whatever comes free. And for someone who gets paid to grow stuff, has lots of sponsorship, yeah, we're in a completely different ball game to that. But what do you think of him? That's the important thing. So what do you think of him? Do I have Patreon? Yes, I do. I can get you a Patreon link if you'd like. So let's get that. Let's get that. Let's see if that Patreon link comes up. There we go. So yeah, we do have Patreon, and there's the link. There we go. So if anyone does want to support us, there's our Patreon link. So yeah, Pure Pondering, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. I hope you're keeping well. KSQ Gardening, is it too late to plant chili? Not at all. You can still plant chilies if you want. What I'd say is probably early March, mid-March is sort of cut off for chilies. You'll get a later harvest, but if you can give them that light and that heat at the end of the season, especially that heat at the end of the season, you'll be able to get your chilies, and you'll be able to get ripe chilies. So it's not too late at all. Last weekend I sowed some more chocolate habaneros. There's a couple of other chilies that I'm still waiting for them to come through the post. Once they come through, then I'll get them sown as well. What a lovely Saturday night. Better than the Masked Singer. Who's the Masked Singer? What's that? What's the Masked Singer about? She's at a party for her school friends. Oh, that'll be nice for her. I don't really grow onions much. I don't know why. I always use them for cooking. The thing is, do you know, with onions, right? I grow them because my mum likes to grow a lot of onions. She likes growing onions, so we grow them for that reason. But if it was up to me, I'd grow a lot less onions than we do grow, simply because they're so cheap. My ground space is expensive. You know, we want to. One of the things that I sort of have in my mind is I want maximum amount of return for the amount of ground space that I've got. So unless it's something that I really enjoy growing. So if there's certain plants that are a bit more expensive, then I want to give my soil space to that plant as much as possible. Whereas onions are just so dirt cheap, a couple of quid for a 10-kilo bag. Yeah, so it's if I had the choice, really, I wouldn't grow as many. Rose Allotment Adventures, Karen, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Alan, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. My 6-year-old and I have been working on the house, taking a lunch break. What have you been up to? What have you been working on? You should do a video on your asparagus. There's, you know, maybe I'll feature it in one of the garden tours that I do as it comes up. But sometimes, you know, there's not enough in a video, enough on where I am with asparagus to be able to fill out a full video. So maybe I'll just feature it, maybe in March's video, or maybe in April's video as it starts popping up. So I heard about Masked Singer, not for me, although Gabrielle was on last year. I don't know what this Masked Singer thing is. What are you guys talking about? I don't even know I don't know what Masked Singer is. So I agree. I don't grow peas because they're cheap. See, Sean, I like growing peas. That is one of the things, right? If you're growing with kids, it's like we grow as a family, and peas, beans, these kind of things, the seeds are really nice and big and easy to handle. So the kids can easily plant them. Last year, you know, I sowed some peas, and then by himself, the little one, little Zachy, he got there was about a meter length piece of gutter. He filled that up himself, and he just started sowing peas. You know, no one told him to do it, no one asked him to do anything. He just started sowing peas by himself into it, and he was just copying what I'd been doing. And one morning, I went out into the garden, and I see Khadija and I see little Zaki, you know, just hanging about near where the peas are. And I walk up to them and I say, "What's going on? What are you guys up to?" And my daughter turns around and says, "Oh, we're having breakfast." And she was, you know, picking pods off the plant, peeling them, pulling the peas out, giving them to little Zaki, and he's putting handfuls of peas in his mouth. And they're just munching away on fresh peas straight out of the garden. So that's what you can't buy. Yeah, that is priceless, you know, and that's what it's all about. And you just can't beat it. It's absolutely amazing when that happens. And yeah, so that's why I'll always grow peas. I'll always grow those kind of things because the kids just love them. I like them as well. Um, um, I have some onions I'd forgotten about that sprouting in the kitchen. I'm going to plant them in an area that I want to go wild with onions. If you wanna get them to take over, if you tried walking onions, they do quite well. They can take over a plot of land as well if you give them the space. What do you think of Egyptian spinach and red spinach? I don't know Egyptian spinach, and with red spinach, I don't know which variety that you're referring to. I mean, we grow a lot of lalsag, a lot of amaranth type plants that is often referred to as spinach, but it's not. It's a different family. Um, I grow quite a lot of onions in the space I've got. Yeah, so we like to grow them in bunches and then just split. You know, take the younger ones out. I'm still finishing videos from last season. You better catch up quickly. Nick's Allotment Diary. How are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. How are you doing? It's been a while since we've caught up. Hope everything's going all right. We've been working on reorganizing the kitchen and living room, trying to make things flow better. Also have plans to put up an indoor greenhouse in the laundry room. That sounds similar to what I've been doing today. So in the attic, we've got a nice big bay window, and that gets lots of light. So I just set up my little table in front of that window, and that's my grow area for the next month, 2 months, where I'll have all my tender plants just chilling out on there, getting a sunbathing. It's a TV show and it's not for me. So most of the guys are saying it's not for them. So I'll probably avoid that. So Masked Singer, The Phantom of the Opera. Okay, Ashley, I'll take your word for it. There is a nice musical. Les Reed, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Let's go back. I just skipped way past everyone's comments. I'm going to fall back in the chat again. So fresh peas eaten straight. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. My daughter loves growing sweet peas and eating them fresh from the vine while they're in the garden. She also likes wild amaranth leaves wrapped around cherry. See, cherry tomatoes. I love cherry tomatoes. That's one. I haven't got my seed yet, but Sun Gold is one variety that I'm growing. I tried them up at Dean's place last year, and they're beautiful. They're a really nice variety of tomato, and we're going to be growing a lot of them this year. I don't grow peas because they never make it to the house for cooking. Laura, that's a nice problem to have, though. It's a nice snack for when you're working. You know, just graze while you're working. That's the way I see it. Don't crop me now. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Tony watched from Simplified Garden, watched your video on potatoes in containers for coming season. He's got some cracking videos on them. One reason that you should grow them, Sean, is because they'll unless you're growing other legumes, peas and beans are good for giving you a nice adding nutrition to your soil. So unless you just sort of you know, if you've got other ways of adding that and other ways of breaking that soil up as well, because remember the roots do go down quite deep, so they are a good one. Dave.
Hello.
You can see right up your nose. Go on. Let's see. No, don't do that again.
Look
so
at this.
let me catch one. Rose wants to fill her allotment with food she can pick and eat at the plot. See, that'll be a nice one. Peas, lots of fruit, lots of fruit. Soft fruits, soft fruits, pound for pound, it's one of the most valuable vegetable out there, or thing that we can grow at home out there. Soft fruits are absolutely beautiful for that. I've had arthritis in my whole life, so I'm trying to make a whole garden space as low maintenance as possible. Planning for. I feel you on that. I really do. I understand what you're saying on that. Like we do quite big projects, and we do quite a lot of sifting with compost and stuff like that. But one of the reasons that I do a lot of the sifting with compost or some of the extra work that I do, we wouldn't have to really do it. The only reason that I do it is because I enjoy doing it. It's one way. I'm not the type of person that could sit in a gym for a couple of hours or lift weights or go sit on a bike and run around, ride a bike inside. I want to be outside, and it's one of those things that can get my body moving and give me a bit of exercise and just stay in the sun, stay outside at the same time, whether it's sunny or whether I'm getting at least I'm getting some fresh air. But I agree with you. Low maintenance is the key. I've been pricking out onions and potting them up today. Forecast is terrible rain again tomorrow, so might hide in my tunnel. Complain about the weather. See, I wanted to get I think we're in the same boat. We're gonna have some winds and some rain tomorrow again, and I wanted to get the roof of the chicken run fixed and get that part, get it secure. And get the old chicken run taken down, because I want to start using some more of that space. There's things that I want to be doing, but the weather's just holding us back at the minute. I don't like the cold, but I'll be outside in the cold. Even though I don't like the cold. I like to be outside still. But cold, wind, and freezing rain, it's just not a nice combination. So I'm okay. I had to take a break from YouTube. Are you back to making videos again now, Nick, or are you just still taking your time with everything? I mean, put yourself first. How are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. So much silly seeds today. Butchalokia was bought as it's a novelty Christmas present. Going to give it a go. Pack came with 3. Oh, you're joking! 3 seeds. That's a shame. That really is a shame. I mean, there's some seed companies that are just really stingy with the seeds. All the more reason for saving seeds yourself. It's so important to save seeds and getting into seed saving. I did a video on Patreon actually about it, seed saving and some of the easy ways of doing seed saving. But it's really important to save your own seeds. It really is. I think it's the big seed companies. They've patented about 80% of world seeds, and the less common varieties of seeds are just becoming less and less common. So the whatever the big conglomerates make, that's what's being produced and that's what's being sold, and I don't really like that. I don't think that's a fair way of treating, especially farmers. If anyone followed the Indian farmers' riots and the farmers' strikes from last year, that's a lot of what it was about. Trying to push back against these big multinational seed and fertilizer companies. Let's see where else have we got. Little Lisa's asking how everyone's gardeners are doing. Gardens are doing. Garden hopefully will be doing all right once we get some. Once we get back to get some decent weather again. Do you have any tips for ginger? Absolutely. See, this is yeah, absolutely. We grow loads of ginger. We grow supermarket ginger, soak it overnight, give it a good soak, let it revitalize itself. Wash some of those any growth inhibitors or anything like that off them. Once you've done that, give it plenty of heat. I mean, we go for this really low tech method of just taking a piece of plant, cutting it into pieces, let it callus off, and then just sprouting that into, in a sealed Tupperware tub or something like that. Give it some heat, but whatever you've got to provide that heat mats, boilers, radiators, anything like that. And once you've got it to sprout, you'll see no roots ready to pop out. As soon as you see those roots popping out, give it some soil. Put it into a little pot. It will establish itself into a little pot, and then once it's got itself established, give it one transplant into a nice big pot, and then just keep it there for the rest of the season until you're ready to harvest. A friend in Florida just sent me some passion fruit seeds. I've got all the seeds I saved from last year. I have to get that indoor greenhouse. Passion fruit seeds. Yeah. Do you know Claire's allotment? I used to watch her all the time a few years ago, but she doesn't post anymore. I do know Claire's allotment. I mean, she's been going since the start of YouTube, I think. I remember her watching her videos from maybe 10 years ago when I first moved here. I remember watching her videos. Yeah, there's a few of them that I used to like from that time. But you see a different side to some people when you get into YouTube yourself. I'm not going to get into that. You get a lot of exercise doing things outside. And you get a lot of exactly, and then you get warm. Ivan, absolutely, 100% with you on that. We've got a lot of squash seeds. Brilliant. That's one of the things that I'm doing with the family next door is they've got a little patch of just weeds at the minute. So they've got some lawn and they've got where the kids play on and stuff. Then they've got a little area that's just it was just weeds. So what I've told them to do is just cover it with cardboard, sheet mulch it, and just leave it. And they're saying they're going to go and buy loads of compost and stuff like that. And I want to just say, don't buy anything. Do you know, whatever you need, I'll give you the compost. I'll make loads. I'll make more than that, more than I need. I'll give you the compost. I'll show you how to do it without having to go and buy stuff. And I'll show you how to do it on a budget. So yeah, that's a little project in getting next door, learning how to grow food as well at the minute. I had some personal things to sort out. Things are starting to get better. Nick, I hope things are getting better. And if you ever want to chat, I'm here as well. I bought some blight-resistant tomato seeds last year, £4.50 for 10 seeds, but they've done really well. I bought some blight-resistant tomatoes last year, and guess what? They got blight. So last year, blight was probably the worst I've ever seen it. Last year, it was really bad. All my tomatoes got it. My cucumbers got it bad. My gourds got it bad. My potatoes were really bad with it. Tomatoes were absolutely devastated with it. Even some of the plants in the greenhouses, they got blight. And I never normally get plants in the greenhouse with blight. Normally the plants in the greenhouse keep producing right the way through to about November. Some tomatoes I'm always picking into December. But yeah, last year was the worst blight year I've ever seen. So I know some parts of India are big problem with desertification, so riots were understandable. Soil health is something. See, do you know what you're talking about there? Is what do you know? One of the things that's happened in India and a lot of the developing world is it's Roundup Ready seeds that have caused this a lot of the problems. So the big seed companies are selling Roundup Ready seeds. So you plant this plant and plant this seed, and your seed will be your crop will be free from pests, free from herbs. All you have to do is spray this one chemical on it and one fertilizer, and they sell that seed, and so they come up, they start growing. They're coated in Roundup already. They're doing well, fine. But what they're doing is they're destroying the soil at the same time, and then they're killing all the other plants that grow around it. Because traditionally, the way India grows, the way Bangladesh grows, the way Pakistan grows, all that sort of region grows, is in the same patch of land. They've got so many different plants growing. So even in a rice paddy, you've got amaranth growing, you've got other, lots of other, you've got banana trees in the middle of a paddy field, you've got lots and lots of different things growing. So you've got you've got it's polyculture gardening. So even farming is on a polyculture basis, and that's been changing over since the last 100 years. And since Roundup Ready seeds have been in there, and all the seeds are patented, and all the feed is all the feed you have to buy from one place, the seed you have to buy from one place, it's destroyed the land. I mean, it absolutely has. That's one of the things that a lot of farmers in India and a lot of farmers in the developing world are pushing back with, and rightly so. I mean, absolutely rightly so. It'll happen over here. You see it as well. Unless we change our ways and unless we take back power from some of these seed companies, it'll happen over here as well, and across the West. Do you also grow flowers in your garden or just veg? Yasir Khan, I grow a fair few flowers. At the start of the show, we were actually talking about that subject. So let's scroll down a little bit and catch up with some of the comments. And I just realised, and now almost an hour into the chat, that I'm on top chat instead of live chat, so I've missed quite a few comments. And if I've missed anyone's comments because of that, I do apologise now. I've offered to cover and sort the front half of this plot, which helps. There's two to get tidy. What do you mean? What do you mean you see a different side to people when you get into YouTube yourself? I think that's a chat that we can have privately rather than on screen. I'll tell you privately rather than on screen though. Great stream, thank you. Ari Ginger, once in a big pot. Do you have to keep that near a radiator warm place? How long before we can pick our own roots? So if you have a look at my videos from 2020, you'll see a series that I did on growing ginger. So how to start it in a pot, how to pot it up and get it planted. Once it's planted, when to harvest it. I've done probably 4 or 5 videos showing the whole plant from start to finish. Ginger will take a while, so if you plant it now, so the way I'd do it is I'd get it started now, get it rooted, and like a probably about what is it, that sort of size pot. Yeah, I don't know what size that is, maybe 6-inch pot. So get it into there, and I'd let it get a couple of shoots shooting out, and when it's we're temperature dependent more than anything else. So when it's about May time, keep it indoors on a warm windowsill somewhere above a radiator. Keep it with lots of heat, lots of light's not a big issue for ginger, but heat is. Once we're in about May time, then get it into probably a 1.5 foot pot, a nice big pot, and then get that in the greenhouse. You will need a greenhouse to grow ginger, to grow it successfully anyway. Keep it wet, keep it keep it wet, keep it fed. As long as you can keep it moist. The thing is, ginger doesn't like cold, wet soil. It doesn't mind damp, warm soil. It doesn't mind damp, wet soil either. But cold, wet soil, it won't do. It doesn't mind dry soil, but it won't do well with cold, wet soil at all. But what I do is I just get it into a pot, stick it at the back of the greenhouse where I'm not worried about light or anything like that, and then just forget about it. When I'm in there watering, then I'll water. I'll give it a good water, and probably harvest in about September, not September, November time. So you'll see the ginger plant start dying back, and as soon as it starts dying back, it's a good time to either try and overwinter it or try and harvest it. See, little Lisa celeriac in the polytunnel bed. I can't wait to harvest it. Oh, nice one. I've never grown. That's another one that I've never grown actually. Celeriac. I think I've got some seeds for that. Yeah, I think I've got some seeds for that. Might try that this year, but it's one that I've never grown. It's because it's not one that we eat. It's not a real one for our diet, so I don't really know what to do with it. And most of the stuff that we grow, unless it's a plant that I like growing or something that I grow for fun, it's dictated by my mum. So my mum says, "Oh, plant this or plant that," and if it's not something that I like growing and I get enjoyment out of it, then it'll be quite a fixed few plants that we grow. Mrs. has a ginger product, so not Matthew, not a problem at all. I'm pleased to say that my sister is really getting into gardening now, so thank you very much for recommending us. That's lovely. That's lovely. So I bought some too because all mine died. Only one who had tomatoes had these seeds. I remember it became extremely wet and then extremely hot, and hence blight. Yeah, last year wasn't a good year at all. So Ashley, I think you asked about Charles Dowding before. Are you a fan of Charles Dowding? Vadana Shiva, an amazing woman opposed to GM and large agribusiness. There's yeah, she's done she's done a lot of good work on that side of things. She has done a lot of good work on that side of things. She's got a video coming out, a film coming out soon actually. On the video is titled Seed, so that should be coming out soon as well. I'm not 100% with her on her politics though, because Modi and the Hindutva nationalist sort of extremist Hindu movement. She is a supporter of them as well. So on her politics, yeah, I am quite wary about her on that. Sure, I know that there are different communities on YouTube, and then there are all the wild and crazy channel. I'm sticking to no more with the more community oriented. I'm not sure. I think that's a private a different conversation I didn't quite catch up with. I did not know that about Roundup Ready seeds. Terrible. Yeah, absolutely. Roundup Ready seeds are causing a lot of problem in the third world. Sean, my kids are the same. See, that's what one of my son was saying to me the other day. He turned around and says to me, "You need to, they were watching some Mr. Beast or something like that." He's like, "Your videos need to be more like Mr. Beast." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have £1 million to just give away to people. I don't have crazy challenges to do in the garden. I mean, the craziest challenge we do is the My Family Garden Chili Challenge." We'll be doing that again, so make sure everyone takes part in that. It'll be a bit of fun for us. David, thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well. Regarding blight, is it safe to eat the produce potatoes if you notice them? yeah, is completely safe. Completely safe to eat, completely safe to compost the plant as well, as long as you do compost it and it does turn, you kill the plant, and it's not, blight grows on living tissue. So as long as you kill it, you'll be fine. Eating it, not a problem at all. Family Demand's going to have to catch up. You take care, and we'll see you again next week. David, we had one starting. Let's see. Am I falling? I think I've fallen behind a little bit in the chat. Dragon Queen, thank you very much for coming in. Hope you're keeping well, guys. If you haven't hit that like for me, please hit that like as well. That'll be good. I think I've seen your mum in your videos with me. Yeah, she might be in the background of some videos. She tries to avoid it if she can. But yeah, she is in. Yeah, she's the brains behind everything here, especially more, probably 90% of my gardening knowledge comes directly from her, and a lot of that comes as well is passed down from her parents, from the stuff that she saw as she was growing up. Yeah, so it's a lot of traditional methods that we employ. Make a root veg mash with celeriac, potatoes, and carrots. That sounds quite nice. That I'll probably get the kids into that as well. Monte Mrs. says it's good in soup and sweet and sour. Is that back to celeriac? Okay. Okay, there's some ideas there. We've got some seeds. I'm going to give it a go. I think. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to give it a go. Had my niece over tonight. Hardly seen her since the coronavirus lockdowns. She just bought her first house with a partner and is planting a little vegetable patch. So proud. Do you know, in Wilco's, right? I met a couple. And, they were buying potatoes, so I just went and started talking to them about seed potatoes, which ones I like and which one, because they were looking at them thinking, oh, we can plant these now and we can plant these later. So I just said, I just moseyed on over to them and just said, right, okay, if you want first potatoes, you can plant them, they'll be ready in 3 months. But if you want to plant them now, if it's going to be frost free, then you're fine. Plant them in containers. I just had a good little chat with them, and yeah, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't expect this." We came to Wilco's and we got some loads of advice. I'm like, "Yeah, there you go." But I could, when it comes to gardening, I could just sit and chat about gardening all day, and that's what I was doing So this week we filmed or videoed an RHS podcast, and that'll be going out in the next few days. So that's something to look forward to. I'll put a post up when that's up. I got my second plot today, and it's small but full of fruit bushes and trees. Matt, that's fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. Who's Mr. Beast? Mr. Beast is he's got something like 87 million subscribers. He's someone who's a real big timer on YouTube. YG, plant ginger now, and do it inside. I've got loads of videos on it. I've talked about it quite a bit on the channel today. So if you want to go back and cover what I've already spoken about, or go and check the videos out, there's lots of information there. He does a lot of stupid things to get lots of stupid. Yeah, he does. But he knows how to get the views, right? That's one of the things that I'm sort of lacking, is the content's there. It's just I can't get the traffic coming in on the channel sometimes. I really struggle with that, getting that traffic coming in. I was watching some other videos today on gardening, and without sounding arrogant, our videos are 10 times better than them, but they've got the view count. You know, they've got double, triple our view count, and sometimes I just don't. It doesn't quite register with me why. Inshallah, I'll post my vlogs regularly. Wish me luck. The thing is, that's the thing. Since I started YouTube, I haven't stopped making videos. Without fail, there's a video coming out every single week, at least one video. Especially during lockdown, I put out 2 or 3 videos a week because people needed something. So I put more videos out during that time. So as long as you find what your audience wants and keep giving it to them, you just got to keep doing that. I think now I'm starting to build my tribe, so I see a lot of nice, the regular people coming in. I see a lot of comments from the regular people, so I think I'm starting to build my tribe, and it's feeling nice. But let's see. I've been given a tray of asparagus crowns. It's the best. Is it best to store them in potting shed until after the frost? I've never grown it before. What I'd do is I'd get your trench. Yeah, so a little bit of compost, a little bit of sand, maybe keep them dry, paper over the top, and then in early March, I'd probably have your trench already dug out. Adding loads of organic matter into a trench, and then in Marchish, early Marchish, get them planted into that trench. What you could do with your trench is fill it with loads of kitchen scraps and stuff like that, and let that break down for a month or so before you fill it with compost and stuff, and then get your asparagus planted in. But yeah, for now, save them somewhere shady, somewhere frost free, somewhere, and keep the roots damp. So damp compost, damp sand, something like that will do it. Yeah, it's very. See, Sean, that's exactly what your aims for. When do you plant your aubergines? I plant them. So I normally plant them end of January, early February. So anytime now. I stop planting them. I wouldn't plant them past mid-March because again, they never reach maturity. The plants get there, but they never reach maturity, and they never sort of give you that harvest that you want from them. If you plant them a little bit earlier, you get the plants established a little bit earlier. They're growing nice and big in that heat of summer. You'll get quite a few aubergines from one plant. Later plants will give me maybe 1 or 2 aubergines per plant, and it's a lot of work for a little reward. So I like to go for mid-January to mid-February. That's my optimum range. But after mid-March, I'd probably stop. That's personally for me, but I know people do plant them later than that. Why some onions from grocer softish or have inner skin? Is it due to growing conditions or storage? Both. So soft onions will be storage issues. Inner skin, what can sometimes happen is, as they're growing, they get loads of water, then they go really dry, and then they get loads of water and start growing again. So they've sort of gone dormantish in the middle, or it could be that they're starting to rot as well. So that's another problem. I don't think people realize what it takes to Ivan, I didn't get that comment, mate. I didn't quite get that, mate. I'm not as reliable as you are on putting out new videos. I totally understand what you mean about finding your audience. Sloan's the thing is, I put on some good growth. but I just don't know why I don't why that I can I've I've I was lucky enough to get one viral video, but nothing else since then has ever gained that kind of magic traction, and I don't know what to do to get it again. Ashley's Allotment Diary, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Epic Drifter, how are you doing, mate? Thank you very much for coming in. Laura, you take care, and I'll see you again soon. And it looks like we're way past the 1 hour mark. My early sowing peppers aren't going well. I'll be contacting Matt. I never asked you. Oh well, how did your plants get on? Do you know last year? Do you know the ones that you took? How did you get on with them? Why don't you do last to take their hand off the Lamborghini keeps it video ideas? I'm not Sean, I'm not sure with that. I haven't got a Lamborghini to give away, mate. So Miss Mika's classroom, how are you doing? Thank you very much for coming in. I watch your videos regularly. Our climates are a bit different, but I have learned so much over this year with a garden in a small urban in Tulsa. Started seeds indoors today. Oh, fantastic! What seeds did you start today? Yeah, Sean, I will do. IB, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. You're coming in just as I'm about to call it, from South Africa. I'm glad you came in, even if it's for a few seconds, because I'm just about to call it a night. We're past our hour mark, so I'm going to leave it there for this one, and I'll catch you on the next one. Yeah, there'll be a video out tomorrow about how I grow my stuff inside, especially with my chilies. And what else was I going to say? We'll be here next Saturday, same time, same place. So I'll leave it there for this one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.